Okay, so I'm very, very behind on Adventure Time videos. And normally when I talk about Adventure Time, Clay is with me. But that's part of the reason we've been so behind is just because Clay is now on the night shift. It has made it really difficult to organize our schedules, both to be able to watch the show and honestly to be able to talk about it. And it's been so long for most of what we've missed that I kind of just want to give a very brief thoughts about it because I really want to talk about Fiona and Cake season 2, particularly that conversation between Finn and Fiona in the last episode. But I guess a short catch up with Distant Lands, I enjoyed it. I thought the BMO episode was really fun. I thought Obsidian was a really solid episode. I loved the stuff with Marcy and her mom. Together Again was my favorite episode of Distant Lands. Surprise, surprise, it's the Finn and Jake episode. And yeah, it's that Finn and Jake are dead. I laughed so freaking hard at that. And then yeah, at the end, Fiona and Jake, Finn and Jake are together again. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of beautiful. I love that shit. I love Finn and Jake. And then Wizard City, or I think it was called Wizard School. Maybe it was called Wizard City. I don't remember. Was solid. I liked it fine. It was probably my least favorite, but I didn't dislike it by any means. My understanding is Together Again was intended to be the finale of Distant Lands, and then partway through, they were like, oh, I guess we got a fourth episode. All right. I mean, we won't waste it. We'll do something with it. And I think it's fine. I had a good time with it. So overall, I feel like I liked Distant Lands. I don't know if I loved Distant Lands, but I loved parts of it. And I'm glad it exists. It's not one of those, I'm like, it's fine, but we didn't need it. But I liked it. Fiona and Cake. Season 1, I freaking loved it, man. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really interesting. Excuse me. My favorite character from Adventure Time kind of changes depending on the mood I'm in, but I feel like I normally default to either Simon or Marcy. So Fiona and Cake, despite the title being just as much about Simon, if not more so, than about the eponymous characters, was something that really worked for me. And I mean that with no disrespect to Fiona and Cake. I just really like Simon and the examination of his character. And seeing him coming to terms with the fact that he is no longer the Ice King, and he can't run away from his problems, he can't run away from his doubts and his guilt through his madness, is something I found really interesting. But also, Simon coming to terms with his relationship with Betty and realizing that, while not abusive, and I wouldn't go so far as to say it was toxic, it was an unequal relationship with him being the benefactor of that, or the beneficiary. And him just kind of realizing Betty did way more for me than I ever did for her. And I wasn't manipulating her. I wasn't trying to take advantage of that. And I loved her. I still love her. But I could have been better. I should have been better. And maybe if I was better, things wouldn't have happened the way they did. But at least in regards to her, I will never have that chance to be better. I really loved that. I also enjoyed seeing all these different universes. I'm always a sucker for the farm world. I don't remember what it was called, but the vampire world with the star version of Marceline. That was the freaking pep tank. I loved that. I think the baby world was kind of fun. Baby Finn being recurring is a fun little joke. The Winter King and the Candy Queen. That's probably, I want to say it's my favorite episode. It's probably the one that lives in my head rent-free the most. Of what is Candy Queen's line of, I'm gonna put us both in a blender. Oh, that's a really nice metaphor. That's not a metaphor. That episode is so good. Sorry, I've been a little sick the past couple days. But, it's really good. And another thing I enjoyed about the show a lot is Fiona's character of someone who is trying her best to adult, but adulting is hard. And just day after day, it's a combination of, man, my life is really mundane and I wish something cool would happen, like getting superpowers and going on a multiverse level adventure. But part of it is also just, I don't necessarily mind, like, I wouldn't mind how mundane my life is if I was happy. But I'm not. And I feel like I am always letting myself down. I feel like I'm always letting other people down. I want to be the hero. And part of that to me is kind of like the fantastical nature of it. But part of it is also, like, I just want to prove to myself that I'm, like, a capable human being. By the end of the season, feels like she's kind of able to accomplish that. Then we get to season 2. And season 2 is no longer about Simon, it's about Huntress Wizard. And it's about HW and, like, getting more about her backstory, that she is this, like, weird little plant thing. It was funny, because when Clay and I were watching it, both of us independently were reminded of Palmon. Seeing, like, her little form and stuff. I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, how her powers work. The other green wizards, I think that's what they call it. Like, it's the green magic. While Fiona's story is about Gary and Marshall's sweet spot being purchased, like, the lot is purchased by Queenie, who's this world's version of the King of Hill. And what do you know? An awful person. He's like, this is my land. I'm going to destroy this and levy this place. When they make a deal, like, okay, if you give us till this time and we can buy it, I can save my friend's place. And Fiona doing everything she can to save that, while Huntress Wizard in her world, Finn is slowly dying of a wound that he got in season 1, and her doing what she can to save Finn. And I really like the dichotomy between Fiona and Huntress Wizard, because both of them, how do I want to say this? Fiona is trying to learn self-love, and Huntress Wizard, I don't think it's necessarily that she's trying to learn how to love other people, but she's trying to learn how to express it, and that it's okay to express it. It's okay to be vulnerable. Because part of her backstory is, like, being adopted, being, really close to her, like, foster father and mother, and then watching them die. So my understanding from that is that, it's hard for her to really let people in because she knows what it's like to lose people. There's this scene I really like where she and Finn, by the way, I have to say, I love adult Finn's design. Like, the giant Jake tattoo he has on his chest. Like, that is really endearing and really sad at the same time, because I know if that's there, Jake has been gone, but I think that's a really neat way to honor Jake. But the two of them are playing video games on BMO, and HW wins, and Finn's like, dang, like, good job. You could beat me in video games a lot more if we lived together. And Huntress Wizard just gives him this look of, I don't know how to respond. Like, she kind of reminded me of a cat with its hackles raised. Of like, I don't know about this. And I don't even think it's because she's against the idea. It's just, I don't know if or when or how I will be ready to move forward like that. I think even, like, one of the first scenes of the season is, like, she and Finn are kind of cuddled together, and Finn says something along the lines of, like, hey, HW, I think I'm ready to die. Like, I think I'm kind of ready to go and see Jake again. And she's just kind of like, yeah, that's nice, but, like, that would suck because then I wouldn't have you around. And he's like, oh, okay. And it's very low key, and I can look at that and see what she's kind of saying is like, no, like, I would miss you. I don't want you to go. I don't want to lose you. But not really expressing it. And so when you get to that last, it's not the last scene, but in the last episode where Fiona is talking to Finn, and he talks about how no one has ever loved me like Jake. And when Fiona brings it, like, well, like, Huntress loves you. She said that? Like, Finn was, like, both really excited and really confused at the same time. Like, I'm really happy that she let you know that, but really? Like, she's my girl, but I didn't know she was capable of that. To which Fiona says, like, well, I mean, not at those exact words. And then Finn immediately kind of goes back to, like, almost, yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think she would. I didn't think she could. And what I find so interesting about that is throughout season 2, in the plotline of Finn slowly dying, and Simon, Marcy, and Bubblegum are exploring every option they can to keep him alive and figure, like, what can we do to save his life? You see just how much people love Finn. It's not a romantic love, although there's the whole line of princesses that, like, want to be like, hey, can I kiss him and wake him up? Because that's what princesses do. So there is some romantic love, or it might just be more of, attraction. And LSP, I don't remember what she says, but it's something like, back off Skanksy's mind. But what I find so interesting and so sad is Finn kind of seems to have this belief that Jake is the only person who really loved me, or at the very least, this is the only person who loved me unconditionally. And I feel like with anyone else, it's something I kind of have to earn, or it's something I kind of have to prove. And he's not able to see just how much everyone in his life loves him. And once they are able to save Finn, Bubblegum breaks down. And, like, she is, like, wailing in Marcy's arms about how she almost killed him. Because the plan at that point was, like, there's nothing we can do to save Finn. I think we just have to upload his brain the way that his mom's was. And, like, they tried it right as Huntress Wizard shows up, and, like, they kind of almost low-key killed him. But it's her realizing, I almost killed one of the only friends I've ever had. One of the only people I have ever loved. Again, not romantically, but that doesn't downplay the strength of that relationship. And, like, it's a heartbreaking moment from Bubblegum's perspective. But again, it just shows that even though Finn has trouble seeing it, the people in his life love him. And there's something just so relatable about that, where, I'm going to speak for myself for a bit. It's like, I know there are a lot of people in my life that love me, but sometimes, like, if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm having, like, a few bad days in a row kind of thing, sometimes you're just like, do they though? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really get it. It doesn't make sense, or, whatever kind of bullshit your brain starts feeding you. But there are those moments where, like, the people in your life would fight for you, and they would be really sad to see you go. And I really liked that. And then from Fiona's perspective, she is still seeking, even though, like, she got that validation at the end of season 1, like, she was able to be the big hero. Part of it, I think, is she's kind of still chasing that high. Part of it is also, yeah, like, that was nice when it happened, but now she's kind of gotten back to reality. And part of her reality is having a cool, stretchy cat friend. So, like, there's still some magic in there, but it's like, okay, like, things are more or less kind of back to normal. And I'm still not happy. Oh, but my friends are in a situation where they need me. I can be the hero again. I can do this. Like, I can get that love. I can feel loved. I can feel useful. I can feel important. And her constantly being told, you don't need to do that. And not in a, hey, look, man, when you get involved, things get worse. Please stop. There's maybe a little bit of that as things go on, but it is mostly just a, hey, it's okay. We'll figure it out. You don't have to do everything yourself. It's a comment. Sorry, it's to me almost like three different things. You don't have to do this all on your own. Like, we can work together. You can rely on other people. You don't have to prove your worth to us to be loved. And it's okay to rest. It's okay to sometimes just let things be. It sucks, but we'll figure it out. And ultimately, they are able to save the sweet spot. They are able to raise the money. And Fiona had nothing to do with that plan. She was elsewhere. I believe that's when she was on trial for helping kill the Cosmic Owl. Oh gosh, the second half of season 2 was awesome. Dude, that entire episode, which I don't remember what it's called. I really liked all like the titles of the episodes, but I refer to it as the many deaths of Finn the Human. There are a couple. It's the one where he like goes down the hourglass and just comes out as bones, or the one with the Iron Maiden clock. I was like, these feel like Danganronpa executions. And I would love to see these in a Danganronpa game. Like, bro, I need an ultimate clockmaker to get trapped in a clock, like grandfather clock Iron Maiden. Oh, man, this is some cool shit. But she is gone, and everyone else is able to manage without her. And it ends up being a success. And to everyone else, it's like, dude, we did the thing. We're successful. Isn't this great? And from Fiona's perspective, all she can see is, I've spent the past several days working on this, stressing out about this, and putting my all into this, and also doing what I can to help HW save Finn. But I have been pouring so much of myself into this. And not only did you guys do it all without me, you've essentially confirmed everything that little voice in the back of my head has been saying, that I'm not needed, that I do just make things worse, and that my friends would be better off without me. And then she snaps. She has a crash out where she takes one of the bulldozers and like levels the sweet spot herself, and just this moment of like just blind anger and frustration. And I remember reading a quote like a few months ago or so. I don't remember who it's attributed to, but it's something along the lines of, the older you get, the more you realize that like one moment of greed or lust or anger can undo like 10 years of hard work. And to me, that's really what that scene is. It is, here is someone that is not doing okay, and it's kind of just hit a low point, having every bad thing she thinks about herself in her mind proved true. And there is just this moment where she lashes out, and it's something she can't take back. And I found that really interesting, and I found it sympathetic, but I guess I'll put it like this. It's, do I sympathize with Fiona in that moment? Yes. That does not justify what she did. I don't think what she did was okay. And personally, I kind of feel like there should have been more consequences as a result. There's a little bit of that, but everything's kind of wrapped up in a bow in the finale. And there's an argument that like, oh, well, I mean, some time has passed and we can infer that as time has went on, you know, everyone's kind of been able to get over it and forgive her. excuse me, because they understand this was something she did, like, just kind of in a state of frustration, not something she really wanted to do. But even still, I mean, the like the bit with the bad homemade cake, like, it was sweet. But I don't know. I feel like there could have been more, like, repercussions for it, or it could have lasted maybe a little longer, I guess. But overall, I think it worked enough. But hers is a story about needing to love herself and her struggle to do so, and instead just chasing validation. And I really liked it. I found it really interesting. And then we have Cake, who is someone, and we see it in the first episode in a scene we had to rewatch because we were laughing so hard, where the little girl's like, "Oh, a stretching cat to an elephant! And a cowboy riding an elephant!" And then I don't remember what it was on top. She's like, "Yeah, that's right!" And she starts, like, foaming at the mouth, or, like, whatever face that little girl was making was so funny. But we see throughout the season that Cake feels very, like, it's not that she minds having her power, but she doesn't like being forced to do it by other people, or she doesn't like being defined by it, or, like, having to turn into a form that's not her, that's something she's not comfortable with. Which is why, yeah, I really liked those scenes with Karmic Worm, of someone who could just meet her where she's at, have no expectations of what she should look like or should turn into. It's just, no, I just like talking to you. You seem neat as you are. Like, what was the line? Like, there's room in this pizza box for one other. It makes sense in context. I just really loved that. Okay, I also have to bring up that episode where Fiona and Fennel got they basically got really high and went on a whole space adventure. Dude, that episode was so funny. Like, definitely one of my favorites. I really liked Funnel. I also, I'm a little mixed on seeing Fern. And I say this as someone who loves Fern. Like, Fern is probably one of my favorite characters in Adventure Time. I like the idea that Fern has really kind of found himself as, like, I'm not trying to be Finn anymore. I understand that I am my own person, and I've made my peace with that. Like, I like that a lot. My only thing is just, I thought Fern died. Like, I thought Fern went back, like, after destroying, like, the grass demon, Fern withered away. I thought, a hole to wither away. Anyways, it's like, I thought Fern just kind of went back to being the Finn sword. Or no, like, I think Fern was like the tree that, like, remade the tree house, and then the Finn sword was in the tree house. But Fern's still alive. And it's one of those, I'm like, I'm gonna let you guys have this, because maybe it makes sense and I just kind of missed it, or it just makes sense in an Adventure Time way. Even if it doesn't, I like Fern enough that I'm gonna let this one slide, but I can't help but be like, is this bullshit? I don't know. But overall, I really loved this season, particularly the back half, where I feel like the individual episodes were kind of like a lot funnier, a lot more enjoyable. And again, I still liked the first half quite a bit, but I feel like it all really came together at the end. But I have to talk about the scene that made me laugh harder than anything else. It was when Fiona upsets the lemon carbs. And it's just like, oh, actions have consequences! And then they just kick Fiona. Dude, I laughed way too hard at that. Because you know what? There is just something incredibly satisfying about good old-fashioned slapstick cartoon violence. But, that's all I really wanted to say about that. I'll see you.